We present episode 2 of Crudely, Badly, Cheaply by Nigel Banks. In episode 1, Jimmy McIver attempted to improve his financial prospects by opening a dry cleaning business. He hoped to persuade an old school friend, Roger Soul, to become his partner in the venture, but needed to raise some capital of his own first. Being a habitual gambler, he borrowed his stake money from a local loan shark, Mo Greensmith, to place a risky bet on 3 horses. To his delight, they all win. He is able to repay his loan to Mo before having to discover if her fearsome reputation for violence against defaulters is justified. But his meeting with Roger Soul's new PA, Denise, to discuss his business plan does not go well, so Jimmy is left feeling that he might have used up all his good fortune.
Hey, what's you, Rog? I was wondering when I'd hear from you.
Yeah, I had an important trip to make. I only got back a couple of days ago, and then there was a big backlog at the office to deal with. I've had a chat with Denise, and she said that...
Yeah, look, Rog, I'm sorry about it. I don't know what come over me. Completely out of order. So I quite understand if you're not wanting anything to do with my scheme.
What are you on about? I was calling to fix up another meeting. Now I'm back.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, whenever's convenient.
OK, let's say your office, 1 o'clock.
My office?
The Dog and Duck?
Oh, right. Yeah, good one. You always did know how to pull my chain.
Yeah, well, you'll have to smarten up your act if you're going to join the grown-ups.
You mean...
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Just be in the pub at 1 and we'll have a chat, all right?
Yeah, sure. No worries. I'll be there.
See you later.
Pint, please, Fred, and a G&T.
Strange combination. You gone off scotch?
No, I'm getting one in for my mate Rog. He should be here soon.
So, how's it going with his PA? You've not exactly been forthcoming on that front, so I'm assuming I won my bet.
No, I haven't given up hope yet. We never set a time limit on getting a date with her, so as far as I'm concerned, the bet's still on.
Any trick in the book to wriggle out of it? Come on, admit it. She gave you the old Evo.
Now, fair's fair. I do concede my initial advances were met with a certain amount of resistance, but as the saying goes, faint heart never won fair lady. So I shall put my best Robert the Bruce face on and persevere.
God loves a trier, as they say. But in this case, I think the odds are against you. So, if you haven't landed the fish by the end of the month, I'll be claiming my 50 quid. Anyway, Rothschild, it's not as though you can't afford it.
Fine. 3 weeks, plenty of time. It's in the bag.
Dream on.
Sorry I'm late. I got caught up in some business just as I was about to leave the office.
No problem, Rog. I took the liberty of getting you a G&T.
Thanks. Should we grab a table where it's a bit more private? Right. Well, I've had a look at your so-called business plan.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I was in such a rush to get the numbers together. I didn't have time to set it all out nice and neat.
Come off it, Jimmy. Remember who you're talking to here. Be honest, you wouldn't recognise a spreadsheet if it came along and bit you.
Of course I would.
Oh, yeah?
Well, yeah, I know what one looks like. I just don't know how to do them. Never had the need for them before.
Well, you will from now on if we're to do business together. I'll get Denise to give you a crash course. She's more up to speed on the latest IT stuff than I am.
Great stuff. She can give me the benefit of her knowledge and expertise any day of the week.
You don't give up, do you? But I have to warn you, Jimmy. You could get your fingers badly burned if you mess with Denise.
Hot stuff, is she? Speaking from experience, are you, Rog?
You know me better than that. Anyway, she's got connections in high places. Or should I say, low places.
As in?
As in the underworld. So you could find yourself having to answer to some pretty hardcore mafiosi if you overstep the mark. Know what I mean?
Oh, right.
But go ahead, knock yourself out if you fancy a real gamble, or be prepared for someone else to do it for you.
Yeah, message received and understood.
Good. Now, perhaps we can get down to the real business in hand. So, this proposition of yours...
Yeah, well, I'm guessing the figures don't really stack up for you. I mean, for a consummate businessman such as yourself.
Consummate? Blimey, Jimmy, you swallowed a dictionary for a breakfast?
No, full English, as is my wont.
Right, well, I'll give you the sunny side up verdict then. The figures do stack up, after a fashion, but there are rather more variables than I would tolerate under normal circumstances, such as, for instance, until we've actually found some suitable premises for this dry cleaning operation, we can't know what the rent's going to be. We can make an educated guess, based on average prices in certain areas, but there can be considerable variations. So that puts a big question mark against projected monthly overheads, and therefore our profit. There's the staffing issue. How many staff are we going to need? The fewer the better, obviously, to reduce the wage bill.
And so it went on, and on, and on, for what seemed like an hour. I mean, don't get me wrong, Roger's a great bloke, and he definitely knows his stuff when it comes to running a business, but I'm afraid my eyes started to glaze over after the first 5 minutes. So I just sit there, nodding my head, going, yes, Rog, no, Rog, 3 bags full, Rog. I only really came to when he said,
so does that all make sense then?
But, yeah, clear as a bell. It was then that Rog said something which I really ought to have paid more attention to.
In that case then, I'll get on to my lawyer to start drawing up a partnership agreement with all the necessary contractual clauses ready for us to sign once both parties are happy with the small print. If you let me know the name and contact details of your solicitor, I can have a draft copy sent over for him to vet as soon as it's ready.
Solicitor? Now, I'd never had cause to use a solicitor before. All I knew was that they tended to spout legal double Dutch at you and charge you an arm and a leg for the privilege. So I'd always avoided them. I had hoped that we'd be able to use the informal gentleman's agreement method. You know, a spit and a handshake followed by a couple of sherbets. But it was clearly not to be. Rog was going to do this by the book. But as I said, I didn't really pay enough attention at the time. I was distracted by the arrival of a pair of very shapely legs with stiletto heels on the end of them.
Denise, you got my message then? All serene back at the office?
Yeah, all good. I'll need to get back by 2 to meet...
No sweat. Jimmy, mate, why don't you get some more drinks in? We might have something to celebrate after all. Here's a 20.
Oh, nice one. What's your poison, Denise?
Slimline tonic with ice and lemon, please.
Rog?
Same, please.
It's a bit vanilla, ain't it?
Got to drive somewhere this afternoon. Need to keep a clear head.
That's my Rog, always ahead of the game.
Of course. Now, off you trot and get 'em in.
Fred, might I procure some more beverages, if you please?
You're looking very pleased with yourself. Oh, no, I don't believe it. You haven't managed to cop off with that bird, have you?
Not yet, as it happens, Fred. So your 50 quid is still safe, for the moment. But I do have high hopes of success in the very near future.
Ever the optimist. Same again.
Yeah, pint please, and 2 slimline tonics with ice and lemon. Here, you wouldn't happen to know the name of a solicitor I could use, would you?
Why? You in trouble again?
No, of course not. I just need to get some legal stuff signed and wondered if you could recommend someone, preferably cheap.
In my experience, the words cheap and solicitor don't go together. I've used a firm in the Old Kent Road in the past. They were straight enough, easy to deal with. Now, what was the name? Miller. Mossam and Son, yeah, that's them.
Old Kent Road? That's south of the river, bit of a schlep.
There's such things as phones and the internet, you know. You don't have to go there in person all the time. Here's your drinks.
Thanks, mate. I'll give him a call. Here we are, 2 tonics.
Thanks, Jimmy. Afraid I've got to shoot. I'll leave you in Denise's capable hands to sort out some details and arrange an IT tutorial for you. Right. I love you and leave you. See you later, D. Arrivederci, Jimmy.
Yeah, ciao, baby, to you too. So, Denise, alone at last.
I do hope you're not getting any ideas, Jimmy. This is strictly business.
Yeah, I know, but listen, I just need to beg a favour.
What sort of favour?
Well, it's like this. See, old Fred behind the bar, he bet me 50 quid I couldn't get a date with you. I'd just love to get one over on him. So I was wondering if you might see your way to pretending you're going on a date with me.
What's in it for me?
Well, I don't know. What were you thinking of?
A share of the winnings, for starters.
How much?
Agents' fees are 20% these days, so 10 quid, please.
Done.
Plus VAT, of course, so that's another £7.50.
Are you serious?
Of course.
Oh, there's a 20, keep the change. Treat yourself.
You should see your face. I can't believe you took me seriously. I can see why Rog said you were a rubbish poker player. Be back in a minute.
I watched her sashay up to the bar and engage Fred in some earnest conversation. I see him look over at me and then hand over 50 quid to her. As she come back towards me, I noticed Fred giving me the finger behind her back. I raised my glass and smiled sweetly at him.
The victor, the spoils. And you know what, Jimmy? You can take me out on a date.
Really? You're not messing with me again?
Yeah, really. Well, sort of.
What's the catch?
Well, I've got to give you some IT training, so I figure you owe me a decent meal for my pains, and there's this nice little Italian place I know, so...
Yeah, all right, fair dues. When shall we say?
I'll call you, Jimmy. Got to get back to the office now. See ya.
And then she was gone, in a whiff of expensive perfume. I'm smitten. I knew deep down she didn't fancy me, but I didn't care as long as I got to spend some time in her company. Turned out, though, that she had an ulterior motive for setting up a meal in that restaurant. She had been seeing the owner, this second-generation mafioso greaseball, and he'd been two-timing her and then dumped her. She wanted a bit of payback, so she was all over me in front of him to make him jealous, which was very pleasant, of course. But then things got a bit tasty, and then she threw a plate of linguine all over him and started smashing bottles and glasses. And the language! Talk about turning the air blue. Real potty mouth, that girl. We beat a hasty retreat and went to a pub instead. Safe to say, I don't think I'll be eating there again. Hello, Jimmy McIver, who's this?
Hello, Mr. McIver. It's Hilary Woodhall, Mr. Mossman's secretary. I'm just ringing to tell you that the partnership contract papers have been duly vetted and are ready for signing. If you'd like to drop by the office at your convenience.
Blimey, that didn't take long. I wasn't expecting any action before next month at the earliest.
Yes, well, we've had dealings with Mr. Soul's solicitor, Reginald Thring, in the past. He's very efficient. So when might we expect you?
Well, let's see. Tomorrow afternoon, any good?
I'll just check Mr. Mossman's diary. Yes, tomorrow at 3 is fine. See you then. Goodbye.
Yeah, laters. So, before you know it, there I am, signing these official documents, making me a partner with Mr. Roger Soul in a new dry cleaning business. We rented some premises in Kilburn at a reasonable monthly rate, thanks to Denise's negotiating skills. Roger sourced some machines second-hand from another business closing down in Reading, so I have to hire a van and drive all the way over there to collect them. Luckily, Roger's got this team of shop fitters to get the place all set up. Trouble was, though, with the machines being second-hand, there weren't any operating instructions, so it was all a bit trial and error to begin with the emphasis on the error. Rog being Rog, it was all push to get the shop up and running as soon as possible, whereas I would have liked a more leisurely approach.
We need to start generating some income straight away, Jimmy. We've got all those fixed overheads to pay. It's a given that any new business will run at a loss to start with, so the sooner we get the cash till ringing, the better.
But we haven't even got any staff signed up yet. I've only just put the ads out.
So you'll have to get your hands dirty yourself. What did you expect? I bet you thought you could sit in the pub with a pint and the sporting life all day. Well, it isn't like that in the real world. You have to put in the hard graft if you want to reap the rewards.
Yeah, I know that. It's just...
Just what?
Well, I'm worried about cocking it up.
Ha ha ha! Of course you'll cock it up. We all do, to begin with. It's called learning by experience. You'll be fine. We're opening next Wednesday.
I wish I shared his confidence. Anyway, come the grand opening, Roger pulled out all the stops. Got the local press and radio to come along, plus some of his business contacts. There was free fares and canapes, so that pulled in some freeloaders. Well, some folk will turn up for the opening of an envelope. But all in all, it passed off well enough. There was that initial show of interest from the great British public. Then things went quiet very quickly. So I wasn't exactly run off my feet. In fact, I was bored out of my tree sitting behind the counter all day staring at the ceiling. Running a business hadn't turned out to be the adrenaline rush I'd expected. I wanted more excitement in my life. But, as the old saying goes, be careful what you wish for. Mrs. Greensmith, what are you doing here?
Not quite the welcome I was expecting, Jimmy.
Sorry, Mrs. G, where's my manners? It's great to see you again. How have you been? How's business?
All right. No need to go overboard. Business is booming as it happens. Unlike here, I gather.
Well, early days, you know. Rome wasn't built in a day and all that.
but it'd be nice to see some signs of the foundations being laid. I'd hope for a better return on my investment.
Your investment?
Well, it was my loan that made all this possible, wasn't it, Jimmy? You didn't have 2 shekels to rub together when you came to me. Any chance of a coffee?
What? Oh, yeah, sure. It'll have to be instant, I'm afraid.
Fine. I ate that so-called proper coffee. Foreign muck. I must say, I was a little disappointed not to get an invite to your fancy grand opening bash.
I'm really sorry about that, Mrs. G. My partner, Roger Soul, handled all the invitations and that. But you're right, I should have made sure you got one. What can I say?
Don't fret yourself. I couldn't have come anyway. I was lying on the terrace in Marbella that day with a champagne cocktail in my hand. But I heard all about it. The wonders of modern technology, eh?
Milk and sugar?
Black, 2 sugars.
There you go.
Ta. So, I've got a bit of a proposition for you. One I don't think you'll be able to refuse.
Oh, yeah? What sort of proposition?
Well, not that sort, you naughty boy. I'm a respectable widow of this parish.
I never meant... Well, I didn't... I wasn't thinking like that, honest.
I know you weren't. I'm only messing with ya.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, you had me going there for a minute.
Yeah, I like a good laugh. So here's the deal. As you're probably aware, I'm well known in this manner. Lots of contacts. If I put the word out, you'll see a big increase in the number of punters coming through that door.
Great, yeah. Well, thanks very much, Mrs. G. That'd be a great help.
Call me Mo, Jimmy, if we're going to be partners.
Partners? I've already got a partner, Roger Soul.
Yeah, but this can be our own private arrangement. He doesn't need to know about it.
OK. So what's the deal?
Well, I scratch your back by boosting your footfall, and you give me a percentage in return. One good turn and all that.
Well, that'll mean having to fiddle the books. Roger's dead strict on having the accounts all shipshape. He's got me doing double-entry bookkeeping, spreadsheets, the whole caboodle.
Not a problem. I've got someone who can help you with all that. My accountant, Solly Gold. He's been pulling the wool over HMRC eyes for years. So I'm sure he can outwit Roger Soul.
But I can't cheat, Rog. He's been good to me. Helped me out ever since we were at school together.
Now stop it. I'll have to get my violin out. Loyalty is a wonderful virtue, Jimmy, but it only takes you so far. This is business, so you can't afford to be sentimental.
No, but even so, I can't do it. It wouldn't be right.
Oh dear, clumsy me. It's amazing how easily things break, isn't it, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, no worries. I'll soon clear that up.
Trouble is, Jimmy, some breakages are a bit more difficult to clean up. Things can get very messy, if you take my meaning.
Oh, sure. Loud and clear, Mrs. Greensmith.
I'm pleased to hear it. We wouldn't want our new partnership to get off on the wrong foot now, would we?
Definitely not.
Excellent. So, I'll put the word out about this wonderful new dry cleaning emporium, and you should start seeing immediate upturn in your takings.
Well, that's great, Mrs. G.
I keep telling you, call me Mo. And I think you should come round to my gaff very soon so we can discuss the terms in a more comfy setting. What do you say?
Yeah, be delighted to. Whenever suits you.
Shall we say tomorrow evening, 7:30?
Perfect.
See you then. I'll see myself out. You've got this mess to clear up.
Yeah, laters, Mo. Can't wait. Yet again, just as things seem to be sorting themselves out, a big black cloud starts hanging over me. Story of my life. I'm caught between a rock and a nasty hard place known as Mo Greensmith. If I cheat on Rog by paying Mo protection money, I'll be letting down a mate who's always stood by me. But if I refuse Mo's deal, I'll be sucking food out of a tube. If I'm lucky, open up a dry cleaning business. Whose bright idea was that? And then things get even more complicated the next day when I go round to see Mo as arranged.
Who is it?
Oh, it's me, Mrs. Greensmith. Mo, Jimmy McIver.
Oh, bang on time, Jimmy. Come on up.
My heart was pounding as I climbed the stairs at Mo's apartment. I had a bad feeling about this.
Here he is, our new partner in crime. Welcome, Jimmy. Come in.
Thanks, Mo.
Didn't you bring anything?
What? No, sorry. Was I supposed to?
Dumb thing in our culture. Guest always brings the hostess a gift.
Oh, no. I am so sorry. I'll go and get...
I'm messing with you, Jimmy. You fall for it every time. Come on in.
Hiya, Jimmy. How are you doing?
Denise, what are you doing here?
Oh, yeah. I believe you know my niece, Denise.
Niece?
Yeah. My sister Rachel's youngest. We're very close. She's like a daughter I never had, ain't you, babe?
Yeah, Auntie Mo.
Oh, that explains it.
Explains what?
Well, Rog said you had connections in the, with the...
With the what?
Well, the mafia.
Oh, that was a joke.
Are you going to let us in on it?
You remember Gino Rastelli, owns the Trattoria in Camden?
The guy you threw linguine all over.
Yeah, that's him.
What about him?
I sort of led Roger Soul to believe that he was a mafioso. Thought it might add to my street cred.
And he wasn't, I take it.
Gino, he's a two-timing slimeball, but nah, mafia he definitely is not.
Does Rog know you two are related?
He better hadn't, Den.
God, no.
And you won't breathe a word either. Will you, Jimmy? If you know what's good for you. Mr. Soul will discover the connection when the time is right and our little plan comes to fruition.
Plan?
They say revenge is a dish best served cold. In this case, I've been waiting a good 10 years to pay Roger Soul back his due.
What's he done?
Let's just say he was involved in some shady deals. Borrowed a sizable sum off my Benny. They were mates, supposedly, then welched on the debt. Not only that, he put my dear late husband in harm's way with some nasty operators in the East End. Benny was never the same again. So you could say Mr. Soul is due some payback with 10 years accrued interest.
Oh, I don't believe it. Roger would never...
Oh, I know you think the sun shines out his backside, but he didn't get where he is today by being Mr. Nice Guy. And soon he's going to find out that I'm not either. In fact, I'm a whole new definition of nasty.
What you going to do?
Now that would be telling. But Denise has been quietly doing the groundwork, haven't you, sweetheart? She's my mole behind the enemy lines, finding out all his weak points.
And there I was, thinking you were such a nice girl.
Still want to go out with me, Jimmy boy?
Yeah, maybe I'll pass on that one.
Yeah, you stick with your sado mates at the pub and your lousy tin pot dry cleaning business.
Speaking of which, we need to fix how much you're going to put my way every month. Part one of my plan is to squeeze Roger Soul dry. I was thinking in terms of $500 a month for starters.
You must be joking. We barely made that since we opened 3 weeks ago.
I never joke where money's concerned, Jimmy. As I said, when I put the word out, you'll see an immediate boost in your takings.
But we're running at a loss, so it'll be a while before we're in the black, even with the increased turnover. You've got to cut us some slack. Please, Mo, I'm begging you.
Oh, ain't he sweet? You'll have to pass me a tissue, Den.
Yeah, tugs at your heartstrings, don't it?
Oh, sorry, Jimmy. Much as I like you, you're just going to have to find the money from somewhere.
But I ain't got it, I tell you. I sank all my winnings into setting up the business. There's nothing left.
Well, you'll just have to go back to that favourite bookies of yours and stick another bet on the GGs.
Yet somehow I don't think Lady Luck's going to smile on me twice.
You could always take out a loan, Jimbo. Do you know any good credit companies you could recommend, Auntie Mo?
I do, as it happens, Den. Very reasonable interest rates.
So I could take out a loan from you to pay you the protection money you're already extorting from me and Rog, which I would then have to pay back to you at a very high interest rate.
Extorting? That's not a nice way of putting it.
How would you put it then?
Well, I'd call it creative accountancy.
Very good, Den. Yeah, I like that. Creative accountancy.
Well, it's a double whammy whichever way you look at it. This is not good. What have I done to deserve this?
I know, Jimmy. But as someone once said, life is tough. Sometimes it's not as tough as other times, but it's always tough.
Oh, spare me the fortune cookie philosophy, please.
Oh, now watch your lip, young man. You're not exactly in any position to start mouthing off.
Sorry, Mo, it's just that, well...
And, I think we'll revert to you addressing me as Mrs. Greensmith, if you please. Show a bit of respect.
Right. Yes, anything you say, Mrs. Greensmith.
That's more like it.
Can I just say that I don't think it's fair that I have to suffer for what Roger Soul's done to you and yours in the past. I'm a piggy in the middle here.
Yeah, I can see why you say that, Jimmy. Unfortunately, you're what they call in military terms collateral damage.
Oh, thanks, Mrs. Greensmith. That's a real comfort.
Well, maybe you need to sleep on it, Jimmy. Decide what you want to do. But remember, whatever you do, make sure you keep stum about any of this to Soul. I'll know straight away if you've blabbed to him, and if you do, your life ain't going to be worth a bean. Capiche?
Yeah, I get you, Mrs. Greensmith.
Good. Now, Denise will drop by the shop tomorrow to hear your decision, and I hope, for your sake, it's a sensible one. Show him out, Den.
Sure. Come on, Jimmy boy.
Ain't you going to say good night, Jimmy? Where's your manners?
Oh, sorry, Mrs. Greensmith. My mind was elsewhere. Good night. God bless. Sweet dreams.
Same to you, Jimmy. Hope you sleep well too. I know I will.
Good night to you too, Denise. I can't say it's exactly been a pleasure this time.
Bet you wish you could turn the clock back, eh? But you're a born gambler, aren't you, Jimmy? So you win some, you lose some. See you tomorrow.
I was so taken up with my thoughts on the way home, I nearly got knocked down crossing the road. I knew a sleepless night lay ahead of me. What to do? Come clean to Rog, throw myself on his mercy and be prepared for a momentous calamity, or start paying her the protection money and have to do the dirty on Rog. Either way, I was going to be up that creek not only without a paddle, but probably not even a canoe. But then suddenly, events take an unexpected turn. Hello, Rog, I was just thinking about you.
You need to get yourself over to the shop, pronto. There's been a fire.
What?
I don't know the details. I just got a call from emergency services. I'm in Leicester on business. You need to get there and find out what's happened, then call me ASAP. Gotta go, but call me, eh?
Yeah, of course, on my way. I grab a cab as quickly as I can and hightail it over to the shop, where I find fire engines, a police car, roadblocks, the whole emergency 999 caboodle.
Sorry, sir, you can't get through here while the fire crew are dealing with the incident.
But that's my shop that's on fire.
Oh, right. What's your name, sir?
McIver. Jimmy McIver.
Let me just make a note of that. When were you last on the premises, sir?
Well, I locked it up just after 7, it would be.
Were you the only key holder?
No, my business partner Roger Soul has a set, but he's away in Leicester at the moment.
Can you think of anyone who might have a grudge against you or Mr. Soul?
Are you saying this was done deliberately?
Can't be sure at this stage, sir. You have to wait until the fire service has done a full investigation. Can't do that until the fire is properly out and the building made safe. I shall have to ask you to come down to the station to make a preliminary statement.
What, now?
No, it'll keep till morning. Not much you can do here now. You might as well go home.
OK, well, thanks.
Oh, and you might want to contact your insurance company and start the ball rolling with your claim.
Yeah, right, of course. You're thinking. It was then a little alarm bell went off in my head. I suddenly remembered an envelope Roger had given me with the confirmation details of the insurance policy we were signing up for. I was supposed to add my signature as a co-owner of the business and then post the form. I remembered putting the envelope under the counter and had every intention of doing the necessary later that day, but somehow I never got round to doing it. So that meant... Hi, Rog. I was just about to call you. You beat me to it.
I've just been on to the insurance company. Apparently, they never received the form. Now, why would that be?
Really? Oh, I did post it, Rog. Honest. Cross me heart and hope to...
Die? Be careful what you wish for, Jimmy. I think we need to meet up for a little chat very soon. Like in about half an hour. I'll see you at the pub. Don't be late.
The phrase chickens coming home to roost popped into my head. So I did what all cowards do in this sort of situation.
Hello, dog and duck. How can I help?
Fred, it's Jimmy. Listen, I can't talk for long. I'm in a whole heap of trouble. My business partner, Roger Soul's coming to the pub to meet me in about half an hour. I forgot to post the insurance form on the shop, so we ain't covered for the fire.
What? You numpty.
I know, but that's only half of it. Mo Greensmith will be after my blood as well.
How come?
Long story short, she wants to get her own back on Rog for what he did to her Benny 10 years ago. That Denise is her niece. She's been acting as a mole, and I'm piggy in the middle. I'm toast whichever way I turn. So I'm out of here. I'll pack a bag and go.
I don't want to know. I shall plead the fifth if anybody asks me.
Well, yeah, fair enough. I'll send you a postcard.
No, don't send me anything. I want to be able to sleep easy. Goodbye, Jimmy. Hope it keeps fine for you.
I decided to head for Scotland. I'd never been there before, so I caught the overnight sleeper to Edinburgh. Not surprisingly, my phone kept ringing over the following days. Calls from Rog, Mo and Denise, all inquiring after my whereabouts and issuing threats to my health and welfare, no doubt. I didn't bother listening to the voicemails. I just deleted them straight off. They stopped calling me after a few weeks, so I began to breathe a bit more easily. Had a stroke of luck too. Put a bet on with the last of my savings and the nag came in at 100 to 1. Guess what it was called? Jolly Roger. Laugh, I nearly cried. I also sent Roger a letter warning him about Mo's plans for revenge. I thought that was the least I could do. I took a day trip to Newcastle to post it just to cover my tracks. I'm not that stupid. And then some weeks later I get another call from Rog. I don't answer it, but I did listen to the voicemail this time.
You have one new message.
Wherever you are, Jimmy, and I'm assuming it's not Newcastle where you sent that letter from, I hope you're having fun, 'cause I'm not. You've left me in a right pickle. But then, that was always your way, wasn't it? Cut and run when the going gets tough, instead of facing up to your responsibilities. You're a skid mark in my boxer shorts. Someday, you'll get your comeuppance. That's the way the odds work for a gambler. It'll end badly, for you. At least I have that comfort. Oh, and as for your warning about Denise and Mo Greensmith, I've sorted it. It didn't come cheaply, but Mo saw sense and accepted my generous offer. That's the thing in business. Everyone has their price. I don't suppose we'll be sending each other Christmas cards, but at least common sense has prevailed. You won't be surprised to learn that Denise is no longer in my employ. I did give her a good reference, though. I'm sure she'll do well. She's a smart cookie. Oh, and you'll be pleased to know the fire was caused by an electrical fault in the flat above the shop. So I've managed to get the landlord's insurance company to cough up a fair whack towards the refurb. But I'm still out of pocket to the tune of several grand, which I don't suppose I'll ever get back. You owe me big time. You're also in breach of our business contract on several counts, so I'd be within my rights to sue the backside off you. But as I don't suppose you have the means to repay me, there's not much point. Well, Jimmy, I guess our paths are unlikely to cross again anytime soon. And if they do, you won't exactly get a warm welcome, as I'm sure you realise. I hope you've learnt a lesson from this, if nothing else. Addio, as they say in Italian.
I was both relieved and sad. At least no blood had been shed, up to that point, that is. I did feel bad about letting Rog down and running away when the going got tough. He'd always looked after me ever since we were at school, and now he'd lost what little respect he ever had for me. I figured I'd lie low in Scotland for a while, till the heat died down, and then make my way discreetly back to London. I knew I'd have to move to a different manor, so I decided to take a risk and entered the Badlands, or south of the river to be polite. I kept my head well below the parapet, hoping not to attract attention from any unwanted quarters. Found a decent pub to frequent, not as friendly as the Dog and Duck, but quiet, with good beer. It still had separate bars, and a snug. Retained its character. I went in there one day to have a quiet pint and peruse the runners and riders in the Racing Post when Mick, the landlord, said,
"Oh, Jimmy, someone was asking for you before you came in."
"Who?"
"I don't know. I didn't see them. I was down in the cellar. And he served them. They're in the snug."
Now, if I'd have had my wits about me, I'd have legged it sharpish. But you know what they say about curiosity and felines, so...
Well, look who it is. Little Jimmy McIver. Long time no see. We've missed you. Come in. Come in. Pull up a tombstone so we can have a nice cosy little chat about your future. Such as it is.
In Crudely, Badly, Cheaply by Nigel Banks, Jimmy McIver was played by Mike Gravano, Roger Soul by Jim Newberry, Mo Greensmith by Lisa Nightingale, Denise by Emma Willits, and Fred by Mike Ayres. Other parts were played by members of the company. Sound effects, editing and engineering were done by Robbie Burgess. The play was produced by Nigel Banks. This was an Old Dolly production.